Hi, everybody. Welcome to virtual open house for Drawing and Painting 1 and Sculpture 1. I'm Miss Ramsey, recording from my living room, and here with me is my little co-teacher, Gabriel. Are you gonna cooperate? Okay. So I'm gonna go through what your kids see when they sign into Google Classroom for Drawing and Painting 1 and Sculpture 1. And unfortunately, things are a little different this year, so we won't be able to have a live question and answer portion, but if you have any questions, please email me anytime. I'd love to hear from you. I also encourage your kids in class to email me with questions, and I respond as fast as I can. So let me share my screen with you. We can take a look right now at Google Classroom. All right, so let me just close some of these windows. So we have different Google Classrooms set up for each section of Drawing and Painting 1. Right, Gabriel? Yes. So each section of Drawing and Painting 1 has its own code for Google Classroom. At this point, all 3 sections of Drawing and Painting 1 and the 2 sections of Sculpture 1 that I teach are all the same. So there's not any different content posted in any of those classes. So what I'm gonna do is just take you through what Drawing and Painting 1 looks like for students and what Sculpture 1 looks like for students. So when you sign into Google Classroom, the first thing that you'll see is what's called the stream. And in the stream, you'll see the latest announcements that I've posted, and you'll also see classwork. And classwork automatically goes into the stream when I post it in the classwork section. This section, classwork, at the top is really where everything is organized for your kids. And this is what I go over with them when they're in class and what they should be looking at when they're home. And it goes by week. So you'll see studio and the dates, 9/21 to 9/25. This is what we're going to be working on in school this week. And then you'll see underneath that, digital learning at home, 9/21 to 9/25. So when your kids are home, this is what they should be working on. However, I've discussed with all my classes that I want this to be flexible for them, and they are allowed to work on their studio assignments and also encouraged to work on them at home when they're not in school, and vice versa with their digital learning assignments. If they finish their studio assignment and their artwork is complete, but they need extra time to work on their digital at-home assignments, and it's a day that they are in school, they're allowed to do that as well. So we've started this process beginning last week, and I think it's going pretty well so far. I'm asking the kids to share with me their perspective on how it's going too. I don't want this to become overwhelming for them. I want them to be able to manage it and also be able to develop some of their own time management skills. So one important thing is to just always be on task and always be informed. So everything they need to know is going to be here in the classwork section, as well as in the stream where I would post some announcements that wouldn't appear in classwork. But all the work that they need to do that's going to receive credit towards their grade is here in classwork. They won't see, when they look at Google Classroom, the tab that says people or grades. I think the only thing they see is the stream and classwork. They'll see their own grades. So they may have a tab that says grades at the top. It'll look different than what I see when I click on grades. I see all of my students' grades there. So let's take a look at this week. and what kids are doing in drawing and painting 1. They are right now doing an investigation into the most basic language of visual art, which is the elements of art. And this week they are exploring the interplay of line, shape, and color. So in this very short slideshow that we looked at in class, I introduced drawing and painting 1 students to 4 styles of art: abstract expressionism, minimalism, cubism, and fauvism. And we had a discussion in class about what jumped out at them and what their impressions are of each style. And they're now creating their own drawings based on their interpretations and their observations and impressions of each style. So one thing I tell all my classes is that my approach to teaching art, it might be different than past experiences, and it's based on the fact that I do encourage my students to interpret and place their own emphasis on their creative process. So in other words, I want them to meet the objectives for the assignments, of course, but I encourage and expect that they're going to deviate from the examples and that they're not going to feel as if they are being asked to copy something that they see. And in drawing and painting 1, there is a lot of emphasis placed on developing the creative process and understanding the idea that you plan, you research, you come up with a concept, you visualize in your mind before you start creating something. And sometimes what you expect isn't what you end up getting as an end result. And that's just part of the process. So in exploring what we're exploring in class now, my students are also going to be exploring their perspectives, their points of view, and sharing that with each other. And that's what makes this class interesting, is their commentary, their discussions, and the conversations that we have about artwork. So there is a lot of emphasis placed on that, and not so much on my personal teaching style is not so much based on following step by step by step directions to achieve one result. However, when we get into things like doing techniques and skills, for example, pencil sketching techniques and things like that, I demonstrate so that kids can learn those skills and practice them. And there are sequential steps that they follow to achieve a certain result. But how they apply them and what they do with it, that's really the level that we want to get to in this class. And it's developed over time. So that's a little summary of what drawing and painting 1 looks like this week. You'll see there's an assignment here of line, color, and shape mural designs. And here the description of the assignment is given and what kids are expected to do. And then there's another tab here where you'll see a link to research a little further those 4 styles of art using Google Arts and Culture. Okay, so now we're going to shift over to looking at Sculpture 1. For those of you who might have a child in Sculpture 1, and the format of the Google Classroom is the same. You'll see the same thing when you open it up, which is the stream. And then if you're home with your kids when they're doing their at-home school days, you can go into classwork with them and see what they should be doing. So for this week, the students who are in Sculpture 1 are actually working on their first sculpture. And their first sculpture is a linear form sculpture, which is constructed with toothpicks. we're waiting on some of our other sculpture materials to arrive from our summer supply order, but this is a very interesting process because sculpture can take many different forms. So right now we're working with this really basic material of using the toothpicks, and we're making small scale miniature sculptures. The way that we started this off was last week when we were in class, we took a look at some examples of linear sculptures, which I'm trying to locate. Here we go, sorry, I went to the wrong section. So for the week of 9/21 to 9/25, I'm in the post right here that says examples of linear sculpture, and here are several different artists who create sculptures using that type of style and form. Now, these sculptures we discussed in class also, they're created using a whole variety of different materials, but I did include several that are constructed with toothpicks so that the students could see what is possible. They're working on discovering what this whole process is about, and a lot of times when we're starting something new, it's going to take a lot of patience to just be involved in trying to manage the material, especially with this. And now I have found so far that the students have shown a much higher degree of patience with working with this material. I'm pretty impressed by them. And, you know, we took a look at this example here in class, which is this enormous toothpick sculpture. And to put it into perspective, we were just discussing the fact that the artist who created this spent 36 years on this sculpture. And so when we think about things, we need to keep, you know, taking a look at what is expected and what's possible, striving for results that are successful, however, being realistic about our time and managing the materials in our time that we have in class. So we don't have 36 years to create a sculpture with toothpicks. We probably will take about 4 or 5 class periods to work on that in school. And we also are not going to be using 103,987 toothpicks as this artist did here. Okay, so what we're looking at in sculpture is similar to what I was describing about drawing and painting, the elements of art, but in sculpture, we're talking about 3 dimensions, not 2 dimensions. So in terms of the elements of art, right now we're focusing on line and we're focusing on form, but the particular type of form that we're focused on is linear form. How do lines create different kinds of forms when they're connected and attached, showing different planes or surfaces? So let me take you back over here. Now, sculpture is set up the same, sorry. Sculpture is set up the same way as drawing and painting. There are studio assignments, and we go over those in class, and we go over the material that's posted here. And then we also take a look at the digital learning materials that are posted so that the kids know what they're supposed to be doing when they're home. So you'll see week by week, again, what was due last week is posted here with dates, and you'll see what was worked on in class and what was supposed to be worked on at home. Okay, so that's Google Classroom, and we're using it to facilitate learning both in school and at home. And then in school, students who are in Drawing and Painting 1 and Sculpture are working on their hands-on artwork. that's really what we're spending class time on when we're together. You know, we're keeping, of course, our safety protocols in place, wearing masks at all times. I have desks in the art room now that are spaced 6 feet apart. For the most part, students have to remain at their workspace. However, I encourage them to come up to talk to me at the teacher station when they need to look at their work and to discuss any questions that they have about the different concepts we're working on in drawing and painting and sculpture. And everyone is really doing a great job staying safe and making sure that they follow those safety precautions in class. Also, I'll close with this. When kids are unsure of what to do, I'm one of those teachers who loves answering questions, and I love to ask them myself because I love talking. I do. Sometimes, you know, my students might be reluctant to ask questions because they may feel that, you know, asking too many questions isn't cool, or it's, you know, maybe they've been discouraged in the past from asking too many questions in class. But I encourage the kids to talk. I encourage them to ask questions. I encourage them to email me. And the only thing that I ask is that they know that it may take me some time to respond via email. So in class is really the best time for them to discuss what we're doing with me. However, of course, they can reach me via email, as you can as well. So I just want to show you on the stream, you'll find your students' syllabus for their class. So we'll just take a quick look at drawing and painting. And my email is at the top, cramsey@stanfordct.gov. So you can reach me anytime at that address. And I look forward to hearing from you. Please let me know anytime if you want to set up a phone conference to discuss further how your kids are doing in class. I would be happy to find a time to do that with you, okay? All right, everybody, take care. Thank you so much for coming to my virtual open house, and stay safe. Bye.